I wrote a letter, put it in a pigeon, and sent it out to the world.
And she got it 3 weeks later. Okay.
And she got it 3 weeks later. She knew.
Michael Yo's got his own show. Michael Yo's got his own show. If you're looking for a place to go, the only place to go is the Yos Show. The only place to go is the Yos Show.
And my name is Michael Yo. That right there is Ashley, the producer.
What's up? Hey.
Now, if you don't know who I am, well, I am a stand-up comedian. I travel around the country, do stand-up. Also, I was on E, Extra, Entertainment Tonight. Pretty much anything with an E in it on entertainment, I was in. I've interviewed every star in the world. And
true.
I decided to quit that job because I love stand-up so much. But every once in a while, I'm like, yo, let's jump on here. Let's talk about celebrities. Let's talk about what's in the news right now. And this story kind of blew me away. Ashley, she's been a producer of the top radio shows in the country, right?
Yeah, I've been in New York. I've been syndicated everywhere with iHeart. And I was on Netflix once. Does that count?
Were you?
Yes, I was. You and I were both on Netflix at the same time on game shows.
Oh, yeah, you were on a game show, right?
Yeah.
I was on, you were on, what was the game show you were on?
I was on Bullshit, the game show.
Okay.
And you were on Is It Cake?
I was on Is It Cake? That's right. I still get stopped for that show, Is It Cake? It's so crazy.
Really? That's why I was even stopped for my show. That was weird.
Look at that, you big superstar, you.
In the middle of Connecticut at a Target.
Well, there's not much to do in Connecticut.
I don't blame him.
So let's get to this story real fast. I want to put this up. We're just going to do a quick podcast on this one story that's breaking right now. And I thought it was so interesting. Here's the gist of it. A therapist, one of her patients, she's doing the therapy on one of her patients, and the patient tells her about an affair. Then later on, the therapist realizes it's with her husband. Now, why this is so interesting to me, I'm going to put us on a double bot. Why this is so interesting to me is that the confidentiality, what was it called? The confidentiality agreement. Mm-hmm. Once you go to a therapist, they can't say anything.
They can't say anything at all whatsoever for you to know, for anyone to know that you're the one that told them about this thing.
Absolutely. So you're under this agreement. So this lady, the story is, I believe this is in Australia, right?
Yes, it is. So you got to do this whole story in an Australian accent.
Oh, no. I don't even know what in Australia. Hello, mate.
Good day. It's good day.
Good day. Eat the shrimp off the barbie.
This therapist.
Anyway, so this therapist has this client and they're going back and forth, and the client is struggling because they're in an affair, but the guy that this client is hooking up with says he's going to leave his wife for her. Correct?
Yes. And can you think just for a second how it feels to be a therapist in these situations anyways? You're like, ooh, give me the tea. This is interesting. I got to wait for the next episode when we talk next week. You know, you would hope that would be the case. You wouldn't hope to
I think, first of all, if you love gossip, yes, be a therapist. Because you're going to get all the dirt all day long, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So if you love gossip, be a therapist. So this therapist is hearing all this information about this woman is hooking up with a married guy, and this married guy is going to leave his wife for her. Fast forward to a couple of days. And if you got comments on this, leave them in the comment section. Let us know. Let us know what you think about this, because this is kind of crazy to me. This is kind of crazy. Let me put my thing on Do Not Disturb. So this therapist goes home a couple days later. Her husband says, I'm leaving you. for another woman and basically described the same way they just were hooking up that her client explained. So she realized she was receiving all this information from this woman that was cheating with her husband.
That's more than devastating because you have every detail. Usually you just hear it from one side, from the husband if he's the one telling you, right? But this time you have every single detail, the things that you probably don't want to know. Can you imagine? Her heart probably dropped when she really realized.
And she can't say anything.
She can't say anything. That's the kicker.
That's the thing. But, I was reading a lot of the comments. A lot of people are saying this woman knew it was her husband. And it was kind of, or how did this woman know it was not she knew it, but how did this woman, this client, not know it was her husband?
I think that's an easy kind of there are tons of men in this world, right? Like
Tons of
how
women.
is she tons of women in this world. How in the world is she supposed to guess, okay, this dude that I'm having his like I'm sure the woman isn't saying names. I don't say names in therapy all the time. Like how are you supposed to know? Like she's not describing, oh, he had a birthmark above his left butt cheek to the therapist, you know?
Yeah, I guess the real question is, if you're a therapist, how could you not say anything to your husband? I mean, is that even believable? Is it because you could lose your license? I don't know the punishment of that. If anybody's watching this throughout the day, please leave it in the comment. But like, how can a normal person just hold on to that and not say when they find out, oh, it's the client, like, oh, I knew about this, but I guess it's unethical too. Could you know like a partner was cheating on you and not say anything, even if you had a client?
I think it would be really hard. She probably has to be on so much anxiety medicine or some other training of her own kind, you know? Because how could she not? Like people like to say during fights or during arguments in relationships, if it's an unhealthy relationship, which it sounds like this was, they like to throw things under the bus. They like to say petty comments. How do you not say, "Oh, by the way, she's uglier than me. I know who this girl is." You know?
Well, but here's the thing. They didn't really go into their relationship. It could have been great. Let's be
That's
honest. Let's be honest. A lot of times a person in a relationship thinks everything is going great because they don't want to see the signs it's going bad.
That's true.
Have you ever met a trainer? They're a trainer, but they're kind of out of shape.
Yeah, actually.
And you're like, why aren't you taking your own advice?
Rough.
How many times have you heard a therapist go, "Oh, I can tell everybody else how to have a good marriage, but I'm single, I can't find a person," or every time I find a person, it doesn't work out?
I think that's a great point that you're making because what if they're spending so much of their psychological time, working on other people's stuff, they don't have enough to put back on themselves.
And can you imagine coming home every day with everybody else's problems, plus you throw on your problems on top of that? I don't know, like, look, if there's any therapists that watch this, can you really separate from other people's problems? I know in acting, like Heath Ledger, he became the Joker, right? And a lot of people blame that role because he brought it home with him. Imagine you hearing everybody's dirt, the worst stuff every single day, and going home with it. Can you separate from it? If you're a therapist out there, if you're married to a therapist, let me know. Can you separate from that?
Wow. That's deep because I've always wondered that too, especially with when you get into family therapy. Like that has to be heartbreaking to hear some of imagine hearing parents talking to their kids in certain ways, or imagine talking to kids or teenagers that are going through certain things with their parents, and you got to take that home, and it's heartbreaking. I think that it would be hard enough, you know?
Well, I have a friend that's well, not really a friend, but I was talking to a therapist and they probably shouldn't have told me this, but they were telling me about generic cases that people in their field hear. They're like a family therapist, but more for the kid, like abused kids. And they have to sit between this abused kid and the parents. And some of these parents are awful to those kids still. And they said they want to choke out these parents, but they
Oh my
can't.
gosh.
And they can't
Yes.
say anything. Now, if it gets abusive and they say, there's certain things that therapists can say, go and report, but
Right.
it's crazy to hear everybody's gossip. Just to kind of go a different direction on this. My friend 7 years ago lost his father.
Ugh.
And he goes, the way the doctor came in and said they couldn't save him was so just, it was a job. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
And he goes, I even still have it recorded, like on his phone, audio. And it was so matter of fact, it was business. And we were talking about that today. And I go, I guess it's kind of hard because you're not the only person he's going to deliver that news to today.
Right.
He may do that 4 or 5 more times. And if he gets really emotional about it, it'll make you a lot more emotional. No, probably. And I
Yeah.
know everybody wants to see empathy, but these guys see it all the time. It's kind of like when you go to New York, you stop looking up because you've seen the skyscrapers,
Yeah. Yeah. Speak for yourself.
Nah.
I love these skyscrapers.
Oh, there you
But
okay.
no, to be honest, to bring it back to this very story,
Yes.
the thing that makes it not believable to me overall is the fact that it made it to the newspapers. Because if she's not allowed to say anything to her husband, then
Yeah.
how do we know about it?
Well, apparently what happened, somebody called into a podcast and told them this story. So it might not be
Okay.
believable,
Okay.
but but I think it could be though. You can't tell me a
Mhm.
person's client hasn't cheated with that person's partner. It's
Oh my
happened.
gosh. I bet it has.
I
I
mean,
bet it
people
has.
cheat all the time. You can't tell me it's not going to happen to a therapist.
Right. Have you ever been cheated on?
Yes,
Oh God.
I caught him
I
too.
You caught him.
Well, I didn't want, like, I was always smart, right? This is the
Yeah.
one thing I believe I've always been smart about relationships. I only had it once, but it's kind of like I knew the signs. Like I'm not a blind. I don't have blind faith. You know what I mean? You got
Right.
to earn my trust, my faith,
Mhm.
so and when I see things happen, I'm the first one to question them before anybody else. Like I'm
Okay.
not gonna be like, oh, this guy goes, like, for instance, if you're dating a guy and you're like, this guy goes out all the time, blah, 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 but he's not cheating. No. Or my girl is going out with her girlfriends and hanging out with different guys all the time. I'm like, yo, no, there's
Mm,
something going on. And I
mm.
saw that happening.
Jeez.
And I knew it was because I drove by her house and another car was in the driveway. And I knew whose car it
No.
was.
What? That's even worse.
No, it was good because it wasn't a shock. I already knew. I just needed confirmation.
Okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
then it kind of I just texted him, hey, well, I don't even know if texting was, this was probably like, God, what, 2009?
So you telegraphed. You telegraphed her.
I sent out a pigeon. I wrote a letter, put it in a pigeon, and sent it out to the world.
There it is. Okay. And she got it 3 weeks later. Okay.
And she got it 3 weeks later. She knew. I caught her cheating.
Wow. Wow. Things were tough back then before Google Maps.
I know, man. I know. But I knew it was coming. But I think this is a fantastic story. If there's any therapists out there that have been through this, or any therapist, can you really, I mean, you're not supposed to say, but I can't see anybody not saying anything to their partner like, oh, you're cheating on me with her? I know
Right.
her, you know?
Yeah. That's hard because like we were just talking about those game shows in the beginning of this. I know you want to wrap up, but my therapist has seen me on TV or in commercials that are airing back home in Columbus, and her daughter will be in the room and she's just like, oh, she can't say anything. She can't say that she even knows me, which is so
Oh,
interesting to me.
wow.
Yeah, because I don't care,
I'm sure,
but
but I'm sure there's therapists also preying on clients too.
oh yeah, I
I
could
was
see
reading,
that.
I was so fascinated about this story. I started reading a bunch of articles. therapists take advantage of their clients, and then sometimes clients hit on these therapists all the time, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because you're
I
like, they listen to me, they like me.
Oh yeah. You think. So you think.
So you think, and maybe they do, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know. I imagine it's happening both ways, but I could totally so you're calling this story BS.
I'm calling it BS. That's
See,
my yeah. I think it was telephone somehow.
I think this is something that could actually happen. Do you disagree this could happen?
Oh no, I definitely think it could happen. I think
Okay.
it's happening right now to somebody.
Like somebody's doing this right now. They're actually
Yep.
having the act of sex right now with a therapist's partner.
With us on in the background.
What which would be very weird.
Ooh.
No, don't make it weirder.
I
Don't make
know,
it
I'm
weirder.
sorry. It's so
All right.
odd.
So do us a favor. We got a podcast. You can check that out. All the streaming platforms is on there. We'll put this on my YouTube, Facebook page. And also we're going to start giving you more podcasts very soon. Richmond, Virginia. I will be there next weekend, June 14th and 15th. Then I'm going to Dallas, Texas. We sell out Dallas, Texas all the time. Addison Improv. Want to see you there. And then Hawaii. What up, brada? Hawaii, brada. I'm coming. I want to see you there. Ashley, say bye.
Bye at
How
Ashley
can
the
people
producer
follow
on
you and all that good
Instagram.
stuff?
Yeah, at Ashley the producer on Instagram and wherever else.
All right, later.
Bye.
Wherever else.